Alright, welcome back. I've just gotten after killing the Hydra. And I've restarted the game, so the area, although the enemies in the area are still dead, as the game remembers, the area itself should be refreshed. And a new enemy should be in this tunnel. Unless I completely missed. Nope, I'm not mistaken. There's the Golden Golem, which we need to defeat in order to unlock an NPC trader. And I'm not sure if it's important for the opening the DLC portal, but it definitely wouldn't go astray. Golden Golems always tend to have an NPC locked in them somewhere. In fact, if you could pause the game and actually look at the crystal on his shoulder, you'd actually see her inside it. It's far too difficult to really see in the middle of fighting it, but she is in there. They're a little faster than the blue ones, but their AoE attack is a lot smaller. I imagine getting hit with it would be unpleasant though, so don't do that. It actually comes out from like where the crystal was too. Kind of neat.
So, 'tis thou who rescueth me. Most gracious, I am deeply obliged. I am Dusk of Ulasil. I come from an age long before thine. I cannot stay here for long. So, before I disappear, allow me to ask one thing. My home, Ulasil, is the home of ancient sorceries. My hope is to pass this profound knowledge to thee, with thine approval. Would this be of assistance?
Of course it would be.
My heartfelt thanks. I am pleased beyond words. Then I shout, engrave my... If thou art in need, it seems that my time is done.
She goes back to her own world. And alas, I need to reset the game once again in order to make the next part happen. But I'll do that in a quick smash cut, so don't worry about that. Be right back. Well, I'm back. However, that did not quite happen the way I thought it would. Because there would be an item at the end of this tunnel, but it has not appeared. So it's possible I actually do have to leave the area completely and come back, and that would be the only way to properly set the next chain of events in motion. Either that or the item doesn't appear until I summon Dusk at least once, and then leave the game and come back, but hopefully at least leaving the game and coming back once has put her signature down. It seems like it has, so it wasn't a waste of time. Because it won't appear immediately when you rescue her, you have to come back a little later, or as I do, reset the game in order to make it happen. You shouldn't have to be in human form for this particular soul sign. It should work even if you're undead. Because I know I'm human at the moment, and that might end up confusing people, but no, even as an undead you can summon her.
I am Dusk of Ulasil. It is an honor to see thee again. I shall follow thine wishes.
She doesn't follow the rules of regular phantoms, but she isn't one. Here's where you can learn proper bow.
For a very long time, I was trapped within the crystal golem. From my home I was taken, and banished to a plane of distortion. It was there, long after I had released. So gleeful was I.
And she has some interesting things which I may want to make use of at various points in the game. I don't think this is useful for anything, but that's definitely a very PvP-ish skill, Chameleon. Basically just turns you into a random object in the area. Hidden weapon, again, another PvP type weapon. Makes your weapon invisible so people can't see it. Hidden body and castle light might be useful though, depending on what happens.
If thou art in need, I only wish to be... May the...
Hidden Body is basically the same as the Ring of Fog, but it is actually better than the Ring of Fog. The Ring of Fog has a much more stringent limit than Hidden Body does. Hidden Body is, of course, very temporary compared to the Ring of Fog, but those two things together make some sense. Now, I can go up here and fight the Thundercats, but I don't really see much point, to be honest. I'll do the whole wood area later, I think. I'd kind of like to save Sif until much later in the game. And by that token, also, I'd like to save the 4 Kings until much later in the game. Since I can't fight them without fighting Sif, because I'm just thinking maybe it would be nice if I could get the alternate cutscene for Sif. I do have the DLC. I've only been through the DLC, like, really completely just the once. I only had one time to do it before I started this playthrough. And I did everything, but at the same time I can't say I'm as familiar with that part of the game as I am with the rest of the main game. So getting through the DLC area might be very tricky for me with my handicap, because unlike the other bosses and enemies in the game, I'm not nearly as familiar with them. Their like the enemy placements and their various attacks are not ingrained into my soul the way they are in these other parts. So that might be very interesting. I'm not certain how well I will do in the DLC area. I might end up having to level quite generously in order to get through it. But I think the alternate cutscene with Sif is a thing to see, so I might just have to endure that. See, if I had Chameleon, I could turn into one of these trees. And then when PvPers come in to try and find me, they would be like, where is he? I don't... What's with that tree? I don't remember that tree being there. People in the Darkwood Forest, I imagine, have already memorized where all the trees are. Just in case the tree appears where it should be.
Well, hello again. You need any...
Do I need anything forged? It's a good question, but I don't think I do.
Don't get yourself... Night.
It has occurred to me that I'm not doing a lot of damage anymore. So, like it or not, I may have to rely on my levels to make up some damage. How many levels could I buy? And should I go strength or dex? To be honest, I think where strength is a thing under the bridge at this point. Starting as a thief has given me far too much dex to worry about strength catching up. Although if I reach some sort of limit later, I guess that's fine. But for now, I think we're going to have to use a bit of dexterity to give myself a little bit of a boost. At least until I find the very large ember. Which isn't impossible, but I'd have to drain the New Londo the New Londo ruins in order to acquire it. And that requires that I either kill the NPC there, which isn't really a big deal either way, or I get through Sens Fortress and Anor Londo. Now, I'm guessing I would like to keep the sequence of events as close to a regular playthrough as possible, so I won't sequence break with the New Londo ruins. I'll do them after the Lord Vessel as appropriate. There are plenty of ways to play this game. The sequence of events you could take, but I think I will go the very standard route for this run. I don't know how much trouble these snake eyes are going to give me. Could be a lot, could be a little. Damn it. They didn't get hit at all. Oop. Screwed that up. I don't know this is good or bad for me that I've put them on this bridge. Bite me. Yeah, this is a little troublesome. Maybe I could riposte them. It's a tricky proposition though. Yeah, that attack was too slow. I tried to riposte it far too early. Ah, well, not far to walk. And I've got a sense of what I can get away with at the moment. There are a whole bunch of rings I would like to obtain inside Sens Fortress. But at the same time, I don't really want to go inside Sens Fortress because it's Sens Fortress. And everything in Sens Fortress is unpleasant. Everything. Maybe a couple of things are a little funny, but most of it is just pure unpleasantness. Lol lol lol. And suddenly one of you was not an issue anymore. You can get behind them. Suddenly they don't seem so bad. I never really tried riposting these guys as a strategy though. I'm not certain how effective it is. Because normally when I get to this point in the game I've got more than enough of a decent shield. So I can usually just block and circle them around. And of course usually I've got more than enough of a weapon to just nuke them down. But I'm in no condition for either thing at the moment. And I don't like my chances on these bridges either. This is going to be an interesting little run, I think. I have no idea how I will get through this without blocking. Because I've never tried it at all. Forget blocking, how will I get through it without all the, basically, legendary tools of the bandit? I need bows, I need shields, I need everything. Okay, so I can catch them at least. Carefully, the timing's a bit weird, but it can be done. I've succeeded in staying under the bridge so the lightning guy can't annoy me yet. That'll be a chore every time I do it though. Because that snake guy could have easily won that fight. I won't even get started on this lightning dude. What am I going to do about lightning? Do I even have any decent lightning defense? What's the best? Gargoyle Helm always comes out ahead somehow. Hardened leather armor. Is it? Oh, Crimson Robe is good. Dingy Robe is good, but that's more for curse. Tell you what, I'll wear the Crimson armor for the second. And then I'll do a quick scan of all the other bits and see if we can get anything a bit more lightning resistant. So, the legs, definitely not. Why is this so good? It's always like the best thing ever. Hardened leather gloves actually will give me a bit... I don't have to worry about weight. I don't have to worry about status effects. So... Armor of the Glorious. I may as well run through the helmets too, just in case. Nope, that's as lightning resistant as I can hope to be at the moment. A weird hodgepodge of different pieces of armor. Hopefully the blades will block some of the lightning. And they're pretty easy to stagger. Use the trap to my advantage. Aren't I clever? Don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I'm not clever at all. Sleeping dude. You can just leave him alone. I'm pretty sure this first bit's scripted. Hiya. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to learn how to riposte. Quite sure what happened there. I know the boulder went down, but I don't know if it hit me or not. May as well go down here though. Don't fall all the way down there, or you'll feel like an idiot. Much like I do. There's normally some snake guys down here, but they're dead at the moment because of Onion Knight. He's doing his best as usual.
Oh ho! Ah, where did you come from? Splendid news, I tell you.
That's not really where you should break a conversation, but
Ah, so you see my sight. Yes, indeed. I've run up against a wall, or a ball to be precise. I'm afraid I'm a bit too tough to be outrunning those things. So here I sit in quite a pickle. But who knows?
yeah, I'll go fix your problems for you. Bastard. Seems like I didn't come in this place with nearly enough Estus, but we'll proceed as we can. Because leaving's almost as difficult as proceeding, so... who knows, maybe I'll get somewhere. There's a fog door that's not really very visible from here. But it's on the side of the wall too. So you're not required to completely run all the way up the top. If you can lure that guy down a little, the boulder usually takes care of him. And then you can run up into his room. Take some of his stuff. Indeed, he has stuff worth taking. Ring of Steel Protection. I'm going to switch to that right now. Boost defense versus physical attacks. That'll help me out with these sword snakes. For sure. Might even help me with the boulders a little if I get unlucky. But of course you would mostly deal with the boulders by just not being hit by boulders. Now, there's a pressure plate here, but the trap for it is actually behind you. So, I wouldn't go in there if you're going to get bottlenecked in there, because you'll probably die. I need to try and get this guy in this room, where I can deal with him more leisurely. Combo attacks. Going to use up my last Estus now. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting through here in one go. Would be nice if I could get far enough there. As it were. There are still a couple of things I would like to acquire. That was probably not the most ideal way of avoiding that trap, but Hey, it didn't hit me, so I'm gonna call that a success. Don't touch the boulder while chasing it, but do chase it. If you touch it, it'll be as if it hit you full in the face. Now here, just wait around here before proceeding. The boulders fall down this hole, but that hole is not bottomless. It will fill up eventually. How many boulders it actually does take though. What are you looking at? There we are. Once that happens, run through. Grab the item. Another one of those like most noteworthy items in game. The Caverdius Gold Serpent Ring. Boosts the item discovery. The best friend of item farmers everywhere. What's my item discovery right now, for instance? 150. Probably just my natural boost plus whatever that humanity is giving me at the moment. But if we put on the Gold Serpent Ring, suddenly I am at 350. It adds 200. If you're not too fussed about what ring you're wearing, you should probably just wear that all the time. Since I am a bit fussy about what ring I'm wearing though, I think I may have to just keep it as it is. This is a mimic. And I have no need of the item inside. I could ignore him, but let's face it, like, who really would ignore a treasure chest? On the other hand, I'm probably in a bit of a pickle. Because, I just don't like my chances of winning. This is a pretty, small space for me to be fighting such a thing. And I don't do enough damage to end the fight quickly, the way I would normally like to against something like this. Yeah. Its attacks are a bit too all over the place. If I could just burst it down in one big shot, this would be a different matter, but as it is, yeah, he can kick me from behind him if I'm not careful. I can't block any of it. And I didn't have any Estus flasks. And there was no way I was getting a heal miracle off while that thing was in the room. Much. Okay. This thing's giving me 5 Estus, that's not nearly enough. Has not been kindled at all this game. I'm gonna have to kindle it to its absolute limit before moving on. Be careful if you're playing online too, because Sens Fortress is an absolute bastion for PvPers who don't actually want to fight. Some PvPers were more interested in just making sure that you die while they're in your game. Sens Fortress is great for that. Oh well, got my 20. Time to keep moving, I think. See if I can make it a bit further this time. So I did not make it that far, really. can use the trap to execute one of these guys before they... Yeah, that just makes things a whole lot easier. I can't say the servant guys are really anything that hard, it's just... I'm not used to riposting them. At all. Like, it's never a strategy I've ever tried to employ before, so I'm making this up as we go along. That was a weird backstab. Also, I'm not doing enough damage to begin with. It's going to make every single one of these serpent guys something of a fight. I suppose if I get into tons and tons and tons of trouble, I could go to the New Londo ruins, but it's with the Filing Shrine bonfire out, it's a bad idea in a lot of ways. I just don't have a better... There is one possibility, but not sure how much I like that either. Yeah, that was close. I was trying to kick him, but it wasn't with a... If you don't use the kick very often, it's hard to do it under pressure. If you have a bow, you can usually snipe that lightning guy off the bridge completely, just from that window over there. But it seems like running at him isn't a terrible idea. They're not nearly as tough as the giant sword ones. They're quite staggerable. Staggering the larger ones requires a bit more of a heavy attack. But I don't think they will annoy you instantly this time, because that first guy is pretty scripted. I always find whether the boulders come or not is a bit of a luck-based thing. I know that the boulders will come occasionally, flying down here, even if you've already completed this part. See? Like, I have no idea what causes them to suddenly switch on like that, but they definitely do. I might have to force myself to learn riposting here. If I don't, I think I will stay the way I am. Well, okay, that's a thrust. Good to know. The large swing is kind of slow. The thrust is kind of fast, and the bite, I imagine, is completely unparryable. Time that much better than I am doing, or it will not fly. Could avoid that arrow trap. If you were somehow like superhumanly fast, you might be able to just run up these stairs before the boulder comes down, but I don't think most people can do that. Well, time for Mimic round 2, I think. So that's a bullshit location for my power to be lost. I feel like if I push the wrong button, I'll accidentally open it. Well. There's no... If you have a really good weapon, you can usually kill them before they even get up, because they're not terribly fast at that. Seems like they can be staggered somewhat. Don't let him do his grab attack on you either, like I'm about to. Oop. Don't lock onto him either. I think it's a bad idea. Oop. giving it a good old try here. Not locking on seems to be helping in this situation. Because locking on didn't do anything for me. Oh. As long as I can keep an eye on him. This thing is disgustingly creepy. You miss! Ah, perfect. Perfect victory. Lightning Spear. And well, like it or not, that is further than where I got before. I think I'll put a little bookend here. And see you in the next video. So, ciao.